Hello and welcome back to Blood and Ashes. This is episode 108, where we will cover Knife of Dreams chapters 1 through 5. I'm your host Mo, and I'm joined once again by my secret spilling friends, Willie.
It's me. Can't keep anything secret.
And Jody.
Hello there. Don't engage Willie. He will spill all the beans. He was just spilling the beans now. All your secrets. We know them all.
Ah, damn it. Not again.
I'm talking to the listeners. All of their secrets are now spilled because of Willie. I said Moridin.
It's not even lying. It's the truth. I did. Don't send me messages about rugby. And
That didn't take long.
Not at all. I was holding back. That was going to be my hello.
Should we turn this into a little game where you have to guess which aspect of the chapters I'm referring to when I intro you guys?
What was the intro again?
each and every one of them has got secrets, doesn't it?
Spilling secrets.
Spilling secrets.
No, I don't recall whatsoever. Was it in my chapter?
Bloody Beonin.
Oh, Beonin. It was my chapter.
It was your chapter, yes.
Yes, I remember her. Such a disappointment. She really let me down.
I feel so betrayed, even though I knew it was coming. We've spoken about this very act on the podcast before, and even not that long ago. But as it happened, I'm just like, damn it. Beonin? No, man.
She can't be deep. You can't be deep, Shrek.
I think you got to look at it from the perspective of that she did not spill secrets because she went in there as a spy and did her job. So
initially,
technically she was good.
And then she spilled them.
And then she just reported back, like 007, going back to M, saying like...
Are you broadening your alliances to outside of Dark Friends to now just Elaida cronies?
Well, Seanchan started wearing my shield, then I think I'll draw a line with Galena Casban.
The worst of the worst.
And Perrin Faile. Like, those two should get married and go live in the Waste together.
Well, one of them will go live in the Waste for a long time. Speaking of waste, let's not waste any more time and get straight into callbacks. All right. We asked, how many meters is 5,000 feet? And it is exactly, Jody, 1,524 meters. We were talking about the height of the Ice Daishar Palace in Kandor and the height that the people fell from that walkway. You were like, 5,000 feet. How many meters was it? We did some terrible back-of-the-napkin math and we overshot it a bit, but 1,524 meters, so 1.5 kilometers.
Yeah, that is the distance that you are forced to run around the racetrack in high school athletics. And where you find how unhealthy and how unfit you are as a teenager.
Whether you built for cross-country or not.
You are not. There's the answer.
I certainly am not. No, absolutely not.
It's a small minority of the human race that's built for that shit.
Yes. Then we spoke about Galad, who switches from... Threading the Needleville was the sword stroke you were looking for, the sharp pointing one that he did repeatedly. And in his final attack, he switches from threading the needle to reaping the barley. And as Jody said, it slices him just below the ribcage. Now I went and studied some anatomy illustrations and stuff online to see, like, is some of the lung exposed below the ribs? Because, Willie, you made the point that, if blood was coming out of his mouth, it should have been something connected to either his air pipe or, something from his lungs to come out of his mouth. But it doesn't seem like it. So, I don't know. Maybe his belly. Maybe it just bubbled up from his digestive system.
Well, look, some movies get it really, really wrong sometimes. So, I'm just going to, in my mind, say that he breathed really heavily and his lungs was clipped. But threading the needle is very apt for that sort of lunging rapier.
But then it's a stroke. Because he switches from threading the needle to reaping the barley.
You try and get that thread into the needle's eye, and especially with your guys' vision, I reckon it takes a lot of time. Going many goes. I don't know how much sewing you do nowadays.
quick sidetrack, June, who's 6 years old, a couple months ago now, was like, I was trying to thread a needle for her, and she's like, Dad, just let me do it. I'm like, no, don't worry. This is really tricky. I'll get it. Couldn't get it. She took it and just immediately did it for one shot. I said to her, June, I will never have to do this for you again. You are a superstar. The saying that Child Byar pulls out about the White Cloaks potentially allying with the Aes Sedai is, well, he says, the precepts say to fight the raven, you may make alliance with the serpent until the battle is done, which is a very, very fitting analogy with the Aes Sedai wearing serpent rings, obviously being the serpent. Mm-hmm. But ravens could be the Seanchan, but the context that they were using over here was actually the shadow, because Galad was talking about fighting alongside Aes Sedai and Ashaman against the Seanchan at first, but then he meant in the last battle as well. But I mean, the raven applies to both of those, right? We know raven has been even a chapter icon for anyone from the shadow as well. I went and I double checked. It was Dane Bornhold that Matt splattered with mud in Baerlon when he hit that peg that kept the barrels. Yeah. Here's a great one that I got horribly wrong. One of you guys said that Alwyn, I think it was you, Joe, because it was in your chapter, is the Suldam that found Rena and Seta. And I said, no, it was Bethaman. It was both of them. It was Bethaman first, and she ran away, leaving them there. Alwyn then showed up. Yeah, so Alwyn showed up and found them, and that's why Suroth promoted her to Sojin, and like Vinny was saying, she trusted her because she knew the secret, and she knew she wouldn't do anything.
And she's the one that told Suroth. She went, hey, Suroth.
Yes.
We have an issue.
Yes.
Whereas Bethaman was just heading for the hills. Cheers.
Ran away.
Out. Nope.
Lame. Pura is a Damane that was mentioned, and that was in fact Reimer Galfrey, who was collared in Falme.
The yellow.
I was wondering whether General Turan, who is the one that Suroth and Galgan send after Rodel Ituralde, if he is the guy that eventually catches up with Ituralde and after a battle asks for a quick death, and they have this sort of like honorable exchange between Ituralde and him. It was him.
Okay.
When crossing into Aradaman, Turan's forces were surrounded when another enemy force came from behind them. In the ensuing battle at Darluna, Turan was mortally wounded. At the end of a meeting called by him, in which Ituralde revealed that the enemy force behind Turan was a sham, Turan then asked Ituralde to kill him quickly, and Ituralde granted his wish. Turan was carrying a heron-marked sword and was therefore a blade master.
Carried a heron-marked blade.
And he didn't have to put up a fight? Or was he super injured?
No, he was bleeding out. Like he was just I'm busy dying. Give me a quick death. And Ituralde said, rightio.
Did he take his sword?
Here we go.
Does that classify as beating a swordmaster? Is he now a swordmaster?
I don't. Well, firstly, he might be one already. And secondly, I don't think anyone that wants to claim being a swordmaster would stoop to those levels.
Yeah, I think it's.
Well, actually, I say that, but a Voldo would.
No doubt about that.
Possibly.
I don't think it would be wrong to collect the blade and trophy it, and not
sell it on eBay.
Yeah, you could do that as well. I mean, technically, you did kill him. You did strike the killing blow.
Technically,
I think technically you win it in one-on-one combat. It has to be one-on-one.
Yes.
I think that's the caveat there.
And this was post-battle, right? So he probably took a bunch of wounds. We'll find out sooner or later.
He's an honourable man. Maybe he sent it back to his family in Seanchan. Like, FedExed it, and there you go.
What's left of them after Cimarron's little
scrap that idea,
lost in the mail,
and thus it gets sold on eBay.
I was right.
When Pavara and Javindra meet with Tsutama, remember Tsutama tells them, "Okay, go enact Tana Fear's plan. Go to the Black Tower and go bond these Ashaman as warders, so that we can have some semblance of control over them." Javindra gives a secret little smile that Pavara just latches onto, and I was wondering what could that be about. It turns out that Javindra was being shunted around by Elaida a lot, and it seems like maybe she was just excited about keeping something from Elaida, because when she does it is not when Tsutama had reprimanded her, like I said in the last episode. It was actually when Tsutama told them both explicitly, do not tell Elaida about this. And then she smiles when she takes a sip from her tea, and it seems like from context that it is because she is reveling in the fact that they're doing something and not telling Elaida about it because of how Elaida has treated her thus far. Yukiri is grey Arja, not green or yellow, as we had speculated at length. She's grey.
Yeah. That's the one thing that I can appreciate that Elaida did is like cut down the Arjas a bit. I think it's very confusing. There shouldn't be so many. I would have kept it blue personally, but yeah.
Tel'aran'rhiod, like we said, did not run away like Alviarin had thought. Saren has hidden her in a basement room in the tower. So Tel'aran'rhiod had resworn the 3 oaths, and it was Tel'aran'rhiod whom Alviarin noticed looking to Yukiri and Dosin in Elaida's study. So it wasn't Yukiri and Dosin looking at each other. It was Tel'aran'rhiod whom Alviarin knows to be Black Arja. Like, why is she looking to those two? And that's why she has Dosin and Yukiri watched.
Okay.
When Alviarin gets a report that both Yukiri and Dosin sleep in rooms warded against intrusion, Alviarin thinks to herself that most of the sisters do these days, but that would make kidnapping them in the middle of the night, which is what her go-to plan would have been, makes that impossible.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on in New Spring as well. A lot of just like dying in your sleep. So yeah, I'm putting wards on my room.
Now, I've lost count of how many times we've asked ourselves, how many Shido are camped out around
100,000. I answered that every single time because I pay attention to numbers.
You did say 100,000. What I was trying to gather always is what proportion of those are spears and which of those are, like the peasants, right? Like the blacksmiths and the wives and the
gai'shain
soldiers.
Every single one of them will pick up a spear. If pressed.
If they have to, that's true. But here's some interesting numbers from that battle.
Give it. I love numbers.
Okay, so 100,000 Shido led by Savannah, 400 plus wise ones, we knew that as well. 25 to 30,000 other Aiel forces to the west of Moridin. And then 40,000 other Aiel forces presumed to be Shido to the east of Moridin. So 100,000 around it, then another 70,000 not far away. So a shit ton of them. In the opposing army, 15,000 Seanchan, led by Banner General Tylee Kurgan, 12 Seanchan Damane, 20,000 Dragon Sworn under Massima, 900 Winged Guards of Mayene, 1,000 Legion of the Wall of Gildan under First Captain Arganda, 3,000 to 4,000 Two Rivers Bowmen, 20 Chafail, 20 Aiel Maidens, Gaul, 6 Wise Ones, 3 Aes Sedai, and 2 Ashaman. Like, horribly outnumbered.
Or you forget other numbers that you haven't put in there. They've got 1 Perrin and how many wolves?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, wolves. Wolves as well.
The wolves could be a big number there. I've got other numbers that's also of importance. 10 and 43.
Jesus, Billy. You realize it's like a sliver of our audience that even follows rugby, let alone these 2 specific teams.
It was directed at the sliver.
Oh, yes. Threading the needle at Gerald.
I jest.
Here is the best part of all those numbers. Casualties in the battle for Moridin. 400 Shido Wise Ones taken as Damane.
Oh.
400.
All of them, basically.
Yep.
That's so rare.
Other Shido casualties unknown, but likely tens of thousands killed or captured. Approximately 19,800 Dragon Sworn. So of the 20,000, all but 200 of them dead.
This is sounding better and better.
And then total casualties among the other allies, approximately, guess.
510.
Well,
63.
Willie is closer. It's 100.
Oh.
So, like, overwhelming success, considering the forces they were up against.
They had a kick-ass plan. That's the difference.
They did. All right, moving on from Moridin, we first see Moraine use the name Elise in Berlon, as we had guessed, and Lan as Master Andra.
Yeah, Andra.
That's his pseudonym. And then the last one is, I couldn't find a definitive weight for Quaindiar. So if anyone has read any kind of supplementary material for the Wheel of Time that explains how much, like what the weight of Quaindiar is, we were talking about how heavy it could be. NFI, no fucking idea.
I don't think it's that heavy because they're changing like goblets into Quendiar so for people to use to sell. So it can't be like lead.
Yes.
And you're like,
Yes.
So it's this cup was functional
lighter.
before you turned it into Quendiar.
Yes.
Just fucked it up.
And the seals are Quendiar.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
not too crazy.
No. All right. That's all from me. So let's hear from our listeners. First up is Villy's favorite target for veiled attacks in rugby score format, Gerald, who writes in with the following. Hey guys, welcome back. Great to hear you all again. I'm listening while doing weekend chores, getting in those brownie points before heading out this afternoon to Eden Park. This was before last weekend. I'm not hopeful about the result tonight, but hopefully it is a good game and we don't get another Bismarck episode like back in 2013. It was a good result for Gerald. Everyone else? Gerald got a good result.
Yeah.
First up, I'm just over 5 minutes in and you're trashing my chosen profession. Villy, Teams is very tricky to install and takes time to plan. It's not like they can just assign it to you over Intune and have it install itself. Oh wait, yes you can. Sorry Gerald, Villy made a comment about them not being able to install Teams. I was saying I'm going to create a ticketing system and you guys can just log tickets, and so Gerald must be in IT support. I've not read much of the prologue despite my best intentions. A comment about the Gallard-Volder fight. I think Jody mentioned that Gallard got Volder's sword because he killed him, but wasn't it because if you beat a Blade Master then you are a Blade Master? So the presentation of the sword is recognition of that, not simply because he won.
Well, it's one and the same.
It's both things.
Yeah.
Gallard obviously earned a Heron Mark blade by killing a Blade Master, and since Volder doesn't need his anymore, he might as well take it, right? Trom tells Gallard that according to the laws of the Children of the Light, Gallard is the Lord Captain Commander now, but it doesn't say anything about claiming the belongings of the slain White Cloak, right? So the person that loses their rank is bestowed on the person that beat them. So maybe like the presentation of the sword is also symbolic of that. Like you are now stepping into the void that Volder has filled or has emptied. So yeah, I think a bit of both, right? Not just because he's become a Blade Master, but also because he's now taking Volder's place as Lord Captain Commander. Gerald continues with a thought. In the Age of Legends, they found the true source and thought it would be great for their research because it would allow men and women channelers to see what each other is doing, yada, yada, yada. And the Forsaken have been in awe, not sure if that's the right term, of the water bond, something they didn't have back in the old days. So is it likely that the reciprocal bonding of male and female channelers may do the same thing, allow them to see or know what the other is doing, and therefore allow the next age to be able to do even better research?
What? Say that all again?
I think it's Moridin that mentions this water bond is something new from this age. They didn't have it in the Age of Legends. And their whole thing for like when they found the true power was like, oh, we can use this and we can use it together and everyone can study together. Yeah. And imagine the scientific advances that we'll make, right? Like that was the pretense. I don't think any of the Forsaken right now give a flying fuck about like scientific advancement and stuff, right? Like all they want to rule, they just want to rule and oppress and stuff. So, I mean, I don't think that is what intrigues them about it. I mean, I don't know if the question is, are the Forsaken in the market for a reciprocal water bond so that they can achieve what they thought they could achieve with using the true power back in the Age of Legends before the ball was drilled? I think that's giving them too much credit.
I think that he is and goes against the deceitful nature, having someone else know your fears or that you're afraid.
100%, exactly.
So it doesn't work for them. But the thought got me sort of also, and I have on moments dwelled on this. We know that from events in the books that channeling can be used on animals. Rand urging Bella to run with Egwene. It's the only horse that Moraine didn't need to heal up for the running when they fled the two rivers. So why can't you bond an animal like a lion and you have a lion fight with you?
It's like Avatar.
Battle Cat.
Connect your ponytails.
Connect your ponytail.
I don't think... I mean, a human warder, you can converse with him and you can make plans and act together. I don't think you would just walk around with a wild lion.
Have you seen the relationship with me and my dog? I mean, if I could bond the dog, then the dog would know if I'm not really afraid and like stand next to me. And imagine your horse is a war horse.
Yeah.
You bond your war horse and you like kick that white cloak in the face, and the horse goes like Kong Pao style.
Just remember
kick.
that bond works in two ways, right? If that horse breaks a leg and you have to put it down, you're gonna pay the price for that as well.
Yes, I know that, but I pay that emotional price anyway with animals all the time.
And the
much
Aes Sedai
like
pay it
Hamilton
with
when
their
he hits
waters. If water dies, it's pretty hardcore on the Aes Sedai.
So
that's just a risk you take. I like it, Willie.
Imagine it could also extend the life of the animal, like being bonded gives them a little bit of health boost and level up. So the dog can live for 20 years as opposed to 10, and the horse. How old does horses get? I don't know, 400 something.
That sounds about right.
Now, how would the animal consent to the water bond?
Well, there's not a lot of consent going around in this era that we're reading about right now, so who cares?
If you don't need consent from the dragon fucking reborn himself, then screw the horse.
Well, you kind of do. It's kind of a big deal that she did it without his consent.
Everyone's cool with it now, you see? She got a little tongue lashing.
You already, the horse didn't consent to you going, oh, your name is Pips, and you are Swallow, and you are Swift, and you are Night Lily, and I own you, and I will sit on your back, and you will carry me around. At least you give it some inkling of better life and
maybe
sharing
through the
of
bond,
emotion.
it can actually give consent.
But it would have to be there to get the consent.
And then you just unbond it if it goes, no. And you have to go, oh, okay, sure. Sorry, bro. My bad.
Okay, Billy, you have my full permission to bond your dog.
I'd keep it to higher intelligence levels. Dolphins, horses, dogs.
Sloths.
Pigs, maybe. Sloths, yes.
Pigs are very intelligent. You're right.
Are.
Rows.
That's why I added them to the list.
Yeah,
Crow.
bonded
Pie.
row.
Ravens.
And you got eyes in the sky.
Maybe that's what the Dark One has done, which is why ravens report back.
And rats.
He's bonded them.
Yes.
Spy, yeah. Like some sort of true power bonding. Well.
Good Lord. I can't see the road anymore. I'm so far into the weeds here.
Great.
Just keep going. You're going to get in the river soon. And then you're going to get taken downstream.
Back to Gerald's email.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about that.
More about the Dark Friend dilemma. Back before the patch in the Boar got weaker and the Forsaken was still trapped, being a Dark Friend just meant being a self-serving sociopathic dick, and climbing up the hierarchy just meant working with or knocking off other humans, maybe the odd Trolloc or Fae to deal with if you were close enough to the Blight. But now the Forsaken are out and the Dark One is affecting the world more. The chickens, as you guys said, are coming home to roost, and there ain't nothing you can do to fight against the Forsaken. Times were fun back before, and now it must be so much scarier with these douchebags, except Taim. He's got the fast track highway to the top. Remember we were talking about like how these people are so surprised when they end up having to deal with the Forsaken, and then like, oh God, what have I done? Yeah. The chickens
it was all
have
just
come
words before now. Now it's like, hey, yeah.
Gerald continues with, my favorite moment from the prologue is also the Perrin Galena interaction. I love it when haughty Aes Sedai get their compliance, or just maybe he was using speech to text. I love it when haughty Aes Sedai get their comeuppance or just get ignored. It is so good. I think that's all. Keep up the good work. We all appreciate it. Gerald. Thanks, Gerald. Always great to hear from you. Then we move on to Cole, who returns to the show with this little gem. I'm listening to your discussion in episode 107 and noting how hard you are all finding it to reconcile liking some of the Seanchan while hating slavery. It may not be much help, and it is certainly a very long read, which I'm only about halfway through, but you might find The Dawn of Everything by Graeber and Wengrow. It's a light, anthropology book, and some of the points of discussion are slavery in various types and seemingly common sociological tendencies for people to define themselves as being not like some other people. It might be helpful to your minds and hearts and give shape and reason to some of the dissonance you are experiencing. Thanks for the heads up. The Dawn of Everything by Graeber and Wengrow. There you go, everyone.
Googling.
Thanks, Cole. Then the return of Mick. Halverson with the following. Hi, Mo. On a non-what note, happy Father's Day, fellas. I hope you were all spoiled. I finally got the rest of Robin Hobb Farseer trilogy for my birthday. For Father's Day, I got the first one of the next series, Fool's Errand, so I can see what Fitz is up to now. I'm stalled halfway through the second book because I'm reading that in parallel with Wheel of Time, and that's sort of been taking up all my time. But that Farseer trilogy, guys, is rad. Mick continues with, I agree with you guys. Knife of Dreams is a breath of fresh air after the slog. The slog is real, although mostly just the last one, Crossroads of Twilight. Yeah. The Knife of Dreams prologue was awesome, not like the dreadful Crossroads of Twilight prologue. Yep, well established. I'm looking forward to reading along with you guys. These next 4 books are the ones I have read the least. Same here. I think we've said a couple times the Sanderson books I've certainly read only once, and I think Knife of Dreams I've only read twice. I'll try and get my homework done this week so I can send you my favorite moment. Cheers, Mick. Spoiler alert, Mick did not get in on time for his favorite moment. Send it in for the next episode, Mick. And that is it from our listeners. So let's take a quick look back at what we covered last time in Previously on Blood and Ashes. Gallard challenges Valda to a trial under the light, accusing him of the sexual assault and murder of his stepmother, Morghese. He kills Valda and becomes the new rightful Lord Captain Commander of the Children of the Light, while Asanawa flees with his loyal White Cloaks. Those that remain with Gallard, including Dane Bornhold and Child Byre, accept the fact that they will likely need to fight alongside the Aes Sedai in the last battle. Rodel Iturralde sets his trap, orchestrating a wide-scale attack and raids on Seanchan supply camps, outposts and trade caravans all across Tarabon. All of this to coax the Seanchan to set off after him as he leads them to Arad Doman. Meanwhile, Suroth takes the bait and orders the Seanchan to focus a large force, including a buttload of Raken, to bring her Iturralde's head, but not before tearing strips off Liandrin for being a bad slave. Back in her room, she's met by Semirog in a disguise of fire, who tells Suroth that she intends on making Suroth the empress of all of Seanchan. She's already murdered the royal family in Siandar and half the court. Seanchan is in total chaos, and only Tuon remains of the true bloodline. In the White Tower, Pavara is given the go-ahead by the highest of the Red Archer to go bond Ashaman as warders if they are to withstand the force they know was used at the cleansing, mistakenly believing it was the work of the Forsaken. Later in the hallway, Siuan tells some of her fellow Black Archer hunters that Elaida actually wanted her to investigate Alviarin for treason, not hunt the Black Archer. So the one thing disqualifying Elaida from their attention is now gone. Alviarin is suspicious of Dosine and Yukiri and has them watched. Gaul and Nield capture Galena and take her to see Perrin, who in turn extracts valuable information from her, like the fact that the Shido Wise Ones don't drink wine, only water, and that the town itself is mostly empty. And finally, Egwene is brought to the tower, dosed with forkroot. She's told she won't be stilled or executed, but will instead be re-entered into the novice book, likely to be paraded around as a cautionary tale. Egwene sees what an opportunity this is and immediately starts her one-woman rebellion. Which brings us to today, and indeed the book's first chapter. Chapter 1 is called When Last Sounds. Vil, please sound off on chapter 1.
I can sound off on that because it's fantastic. We are in the point of view of Siuan, but before we get to Siuan, we have to take a ride on Ye Old Wind. Now, this wind event is going to repeat itself a couple of times because the wind starts up high where men cannot climb in the mountain called Dragon Mount, and it is a sulfur eye-watering stench that makes its way down the mountain. And not only does this become a bit of a timestamp, but I almost feel like a distance stamp, because of the times of day that it hits everyone from that. So we can maybe work out a formula and argue about numbers later on about that. I'm looking forward to that
right
already. Now, when the storm surge of the stench sulfur hits Siuan, she is awoken from her second sleep. First sleep on the evening was interrupted with the visit of Egwene in her dreams to tell her to get the secret Tel'aran'rhiod, stone ring Tel'aran'rhiod, and come back because there's big things to discuss, which she did. Siuan doesn't sleep in her own tent. Did you guys know that? Mm-hmm. She sleeps in Gareth Bryn's tent. Yeah, it's very cramped space, but he made a cot for her. Anyway.
Actually, not a cot. Isn't it just like blankets on the floor? She talks about like it's like next to his cot, like in the corner, like a dog.
I believe it's a pallet.
A pallet. They call it a pallet, but let's call it a cot.
What do we call it nowadays? A futon. She's got a futon at his place. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Now, she's exhausted because obviously the night was an ordeal, and the whole camp now at this stage knows that Egwene is dead or captured, but everyone suspects dead, along with Leanne when they went out on Mission Al Quendiar. That is a success 1.5, not a full 2.0. But she has got urgent business to set off on, with enough time to be upset with Gareth Bryn for not bloody kissing her and also polishing his own boots. So she uses a throwback weave that Moiraine used to clean her dress as a novice and get all the ink together in a little neat sphere. Write that one, which is interesting because it's gone full circle. Using the power for menial tasks is now a thing of normality for her, which I felt good about, that there was a tie to that section with Siuan and specifically something black, ink or whatever they use to blacken boots in the day. Anyway, boots look worse than they were in the beginning. Now, shit's messed in the camp because that storm that pulled through, it ripped tent poles out and people are impaled and the horses are whinnying into the darkness. It is
toppled wagons.
Yeah, it was like a hurricane coming through, a forceful. So maybe the mountain erupted, like a
stinky hurricane.
Anyway, I'm still trying to think of, because I'm surely they would know if the mountain erupted, but it sent out a boom. That boom is rough, but she is a lady on a mission, and in the chaos of that storm, she grabs a man and she's like, "Find me the most placid, biddable horse, saddle it." And she's like, "Get stuffed. You want to go out riding? Look at the shit that's all around us. There's things to do here." And then she puts her power ring under his nose and he obides. Yes, Aes Sedai, and finds her his wife's horse, Night Lily, who's meek as milk or something of the sort. So she sits on the horse and he still wants to warn her, like, maybe just take it slow with her, all the sulfur wind and chaos and things might. And have you ever seen someone drop a clutch on a motorbike and go backwards and fall right off? She drops the clutch on this horse with her heels and saves her own life by just grabbing the pommel, and off Night Lily goes into the dusty, sulphury colored night, morning time of day. There's a lot of discussion about how she dislikes horses. I mean, heaps. The stupid animals. But she's seen how people ride them, and she tries to imitate this, and she wants haste, and she's getting haste out of Night Lily. And very soon she finds herself in the Aes Sedai camp of the siege camp. And there she dismounts, in inverted commas, because it's not really a dismount as much as it is a falling off the horse. And astonished that she's alive, and also prepared for the fact that she's going to be bruised all over her body from that ride that was, I assume, a full-on canter, and she was not in rhythm with the horse at all. So she just barely stayed on. Immediately when she enters the camp, and with all of the unease that's been going around with sisters being murdered in their camp, she embraces Sarah and inverts it so that no one can see it, because she just feels safer doing that, and I don't blame her. She tries to eavesdrop on the tent, but is immediately found out, because everyone is at top level superstitious at this moment. In the tent, Morel, Sheriam, Carlinia, and Morvrin are present. They are already scheming. Surprise, surprise. And she tells them, "Stop your scheming, bitches. I've got news from my dreams. We need to talk." And she drops the news that Egwene and Leanne both are alive, and they are prisoners in the tower, and they are not to be rescued. So just straight off the bat, like don't even think of it, because immediately they say like, "Oh, cool, easy, let's gateway into the cells and just grab them out there." It's like, no, no, no. Clear instruction that this is not to happen, and she's also not going to be tried, and she's also not going to be stilled. And speculation comes out like, oh, they can't really think of taking it up again as an accepted, half right, novice, all the way back down to the bottom again. With that news, that discussion, there's not even talk of a birching at this point in time, because her cheek will get her, or not her cheek, her resistance will get her to the birching level. Then flap open and enters Lilane. We know Lilane, you remember her? The blue, always competing with Ramonda. She then gets briefed on this news and decides that it's time for her and Siuan to take a little ride and a talk. It's been a while. Turns out she didn't want to talk to Siuan a lot because of the awkwardness of stilling and healing and everything else that came with it, but offers her friendship again. Speculation running rife. Then to tell her that, oh yeah, by the way, your spy has been uncovered. Remember, Faile was doing a little bit of keeping tabs on, and she pretty much divulged quite a bit of the planning that's been going on in Camp Siuan. That leads to, okay, I am loyal to the Amyrlin, but if the Amyrlin were to be stilled or killed or murdered, I need to have your vote of confidence and your physical vote, because I'm not doing this Ramonda circle jerk again. And Ramonda will do anything to try and get the power. And that just raises a lot of questions in Siuan's head around the first betrayal could not have been a blue, but there's definitely a second betrayal by a blue on the cards. Scary things to think. The other bit of news that she did share with all of them is that they are called at when last sounds, at last, and hence the title, to sit in the hall in the tower in Tel'aran'rhiod, and Lilane laughed at that, like, this is so cool, we'll sit right under Elaida's nose, meeting to discuss her demise. And that's the end of that chapter.
You, Jody, what you got? Nothing. Yeah, I mean, generally, actually, for most of these chapters, there's not a lot of meat to dig into. My notes are pretty sparse this time around. Not for a lack of trying. I did learn a new word. Zephyr is a gentle west wind.
Oh. But does it have to be a west wind? And is it regionally based?
Must be.
It's like you in Cape Town, a Kaapse doctor. It's not a gentle westerly wind.
Or the nor'easter,
southwesterly. Yeah. This is northeaster. I can't remember.
Isn't Zephyr like a motorcycle model or something? Zephyr, it's like a car brand or a motorcycle brand.
Probably co-opted by some company. Yes.
Moves like the wind. I get it now.
That would work.
Yeah.
It was like an airship or something.
That's a zeppelin.
Same.
Same thing.
No.
It moves with the wind. It creates wind.
Has a Z in it. All those Z words are the same thing. Zebra, zeppelin, same thing.
Zenith.
Hey, do you know another word for a zebra?
That smile on your face makes me so... I saw that little cheeky smile. I thought, oh, dear Lord. Something's going to have to be edited here. No.
It's pretty cool how this chapter just picks up immediately where we left off with the Egwene's capture, the night of her ill-fated mission to block the harbors. It's pretty cool. Also just like, wow, that wind, like it broke guy ropes and like people that were sleeping on the ground, it like blew their blankets away and it toppled wagons. It's like, that is very unsettling. I think everyone's reaction here as well is like, I'm just not going to, let's not even acknowledge what happened here or talk about it because this is pretty weird. But as you guys who have now also read a bit further in Knife of Dreams, there's a lot of weird stuff happening, right? Like there's a lot of weirdness, and it's going to become more and more prevalent. So Siuan's choosing to sleep on the ground in Gareth's tent. I did look it up. She is lying on the canvas ground sail, just in Gareth's tent, and she keeps banging into everything because Gareth has set up his tent to be like none of the furniture pieces are where you would expect them to be. But he knows, like, he can walk it in the dark, but anyone that had to come into his tent at night would not be familiar with it and would bang into stuff. So, like, that's just a safety precaution that he's made. And I thought it was a really cool one. It makes a lot of sense.
His non-channeler wards.
Yeah. That's a great captain right there. But yeah, that's it. Hey, here we go. Chapter 1. All right, setting the scene. So let's move on to chapter 2? Question mark? Yes, I am Ron Burgundy. Chapter 2 is called The Dark One's Touch. Joe, please give us a touching recap of chapter 2.
I can't do touching unless it's the touch of betrayal. Because we are with Beonin. And I go, oh, cool, Beonin, what's she up to today? Following her journey. She wakes up to musings. She has lots of musings in her brain. And nothing untoward. And she has a breakfast of the prunes and weevils, and she eats that, and then she heads outside to her warder while musing and thinking. Tervail is his name. He's on high alert, of course, in that tented camp of theirs, as many are still worried about the murders of Anaya and Chiron. You might remember those two. Yeah, never forget. # never forget. She sends him off to fetch the horses, and while she stands there waiting for him, observing the camp, she pulls her hoodie up, which is Aes Sedai code for "Don't come talk to me." She sees all the families scurrying up and down the streets, all the nervousness of the Aes Sedai walking around holding the power. And she's like, these, the families, the novices and stuff, they know about Anaya and Chiron's deaths, but they don't know how they died. And them seeing all of these Aes Sedai holding the power, walking around just for daily tasks, is going to make them more nervous than just telling them the truth. Maybe not. There's a invisible man running around killing us. Have no idea who he is or how to catch him. So it's meh. Anyway, nervousness abounds. It's not a good time inside the camp. Maybe she should leave the camp. She sees Varilyn, Yakima, Soroya, Faisal, and Magla. Remember old Magla? She's still around. Heading off to what she assumes must be the negotiations with the tower, because they were meeting in that little town, rich town, having those negotiations. She's like, after last night's news, I don't know. Maybe they're just going through the motions. I don't know. I think the negotiations are off. Once we attack you and you capture our leader, negotiations seem to fall by the wayside. But while she's all musing all of these things in her brain, she is approached by Ashmanael and Phaedrine, a brown and a grey. So her little hood up, don't talk to me, the signal didn't work with them. They don't care. They talk about Egwene's capture and the good news that she's alive and she's going to stay that way. So, none of the birching and the stilling and all of that nonsense. Beonin also considers how none of this changes her plans. ... And when you're reading this, you go, ooh, plans? What plans, Beonin? Those two that I mentioned earlier. I have to go read their names again. Phaedrine and Ashmanael. Are they to ask for Beonin's advice on these murders? As she has a history of investigating those. To Beonin, murder is the most foul. And she has a little side tangent in her brain about how terrible murder is and how exhilarating and fulfilling it is to catch a murderer and bring him to justice. So she has a reputation of bringing murderers to justice. So they are there to get her advice. Beonin cannot find a motive for the murders. It just still eludes her, but they are well planned, obviously, by a patient man, but it seems very likely he chose those two for a reason. They're not just random murders. So therefore, they must look at what connects the victims. It's like, oh yeah, man. This is Law and Order all over again.
Detective work 101.
Detective. This is Batman could have told you this. They were both blue. We've got that. So how are the blues connected with a man who can channel? She's leading them down this path. What else floats in water? You know? So how are the blues connected with a man who could channel? Moiraine. And Rand is the obvious connection. But she doesn't believe Rand is teleporting into the camp to randomly kill Aes Sedai. That's a bit much, I think. But it does lead from Rand to the Ashaman. They are also men who can channel and very much have a legitimate fear of Aes Sedai and a possible reason to want to kill them. So we should look over there. Ashmanael and Phaedrine aren't buying that. They've had to think about this too. They've had come up with their own theories. But they don't think that an Ashaman is traveling into the camp once a week to kill an Aes Sedai and then leave. First of all, how would he know when they were alone? Because they were both being killed while they were alone and away from people. So somebody's watching them. And they are too arrogant to be posing as common workmen in the camp. So it must be what they believe to be a workman who could channel, who has not yet gone to the Black Tower. Someone is in the camp who's seeing the movements. That's got to be, and is a man and can channel. So this is what they've come up with. Tervail arrives with the horses, and before she mounts, she leaves them with a last little piece of advice. Find the sisters who knew Anaya and Chiron. Follow the connections. Dun dun dun. And off she goes. She's quite rudely just leaves. But they were rude to interrupt her with a cowl up. Everyone knows what that means. They head to the traveling ground. And when it's their turn, because there's a long queue outside the canvases, she weaves a gateway straight into the woods inside Tarvalon. Dun dun dun. Tervail just looks at her and he goes, "Oh, you're planning something dangerous, aren't you?" But all she feels from him, rock solid trust. He's been with her a while. He trusts her. He's like, "All right, let's go." He jumps through the gateway, sword out, ready for some action. Mid-sentence, while soothing his fears, she sees Turanine Murdagan, as I believe the French pronounce. Old Turanine, a dead Aes Sedai, walking towards them. But she vanishes before Tervail can turn around with his sword and stab a ghost. Fuck off, ghost. The Dark One is touching the world. Because that's what she realizes. She's read some shit, and it says that when the dead walk, the last battle is near. So she's shaken. Tervail takes the news of the dead walking in his stride. He's a warder. He's seen some shit. But not the news of her plan, which he is privy to, and we are not. Don't worry. Sooner or later, it'll be revealed. She weaves a mask of mirrors, changing her appearance, a weave to hide her ability to channel, and a few other secret weaves ready to explode in somebody's face if needed, with the intention of getting to Elaida. Is she going to go up there and murder Elaida? That would be great, hey guys. Imagine if that was the case. So she sends Tervail off to find rooms at an inn. He cannot help her in this mission. All that matters is that she reach Elaida. So, that's how we leave the two of them, swap over to the literal devil, Elaida's point of view. It's like, oh, we were just talking about you. She's meeting with, Matin Stepanios Den Balgar. I was like, oh, that's where he is. In fact, he's just arrived the day before, or earlier that day. It was something like within the last 24 hours. He's just arrived. He was on a very, very slow ship. The slowest ship in the whole book series. Because he's just arrived, and he is not happy. He is not a happy camper. And he is demanding this and demanding that, and he is a king, and blah, blah, blah. And Elaida's just staring at him with that cool Aes Sedai stare, but, outwardly at least. Inwardly, she's like, this son of a bitch, I'm going to show him who's the boss here. She tells him, interrupts it, you should be grateful. I saved your ass from Rand. It's like, after only a few days after we kidnapped you and put you on a ship, that he took Ilion. So it was a few days after Rand took Ilion, and he's only arriving now. I would also be pissed off if I was on a ship that long. And also, I was a king, and you stole me from my land, while someone else came and took it.
Rolled in a rug and carried into the night.
Yeah.
Yes. All rumors. Where's the king of Ilion?
It was, many reasons. I mean, just add more reasons to the list of reasons to be pissed off. And it was only a few days after she kidnapped him that Rand took Ilion and took his crown and would have chopped off his head to get that crown if he had stayed. She saved his life. He should be grateful. And he's like, nah, listen here. I'm not some old toothless man right now. I can still fight. I've faced death many times protecting my lovely little Ilian, and I would have done the same again. I don't give a shit. And it would have been better dying defending my land than spending the rest of my life in this tower as your quote-unquote guest. She tries to win him over with plans of helping him reclaim Ilian. She's like, listen, let's work together now. Let's get it back. Kidnapping him had been a power move, but restoring him to his throne would make her look even more badass. She's got grand plans, and she's going to use him. But she's had enough of him now, so she dismisses him. He's demanding too much shit and not listening, so she summons Tel'aran'rhiod in. The new keeper. Did we know this? Or has this happened off-page? That Tel'aran'rhiod is the new keeper.
No, we knew that.
Anyway, well, it was known. I did not know that.
She was already keeper when she came to Pavara with the idea of bonding
correct.
Ashaman and stuff.
Okay, that's right. So, anyway, new keeper. She, as Elaida, wants news of the harbor. Turns out only shallow draft river ships can enter now that the chains are all Quendiyar. They also got systems where they, parking ships up next to it and transferring cargo over the chains and under the chains. But it's a huge hack, and it's taking way, way, way longer than the old school way of just opening chains. So yeah, the Egwene's little plan has really stuck a spanner in the works. Repairs would leave the tower open to attack because they'd have to destroy the little towers on the sides that hold the chain to remove everything. And what they want to do is avoid. This is the one thing they have in common. Every Aes Sedai wants to avoid conflict with other Aes Sedai. They don't want to have that, but she figures, look, if they do that, they restart the repairs now. It's just going to be too tempting to those rebels. They don't want to attack either, but you can't pass up an opportunity like that. So they're not going to do that. They're just going to have to deal with it, transferring all the ship's cargo over the chains. No one is cleaning the streets either. We've mentioned this before. Aes Sedai, Egwene has been cruising. She's mentioned the stink and like, what's going on in here? Yeah. It's because people are seeing dead walking the streets and are too afraid to leave their houses. The garbage men are like, no, fuck that. I'm staying home. This is the end of the world. And Elaida as well has been studying everything related to the last battle. And the dead walking is the first sign that it is close. She's found, this is the thing, she went down into the library and found a dusty old thing that the Browns hadn't even read yet, and because she's amazing. So she orders the tower guard to drag able-bodied men out of their houses to clean the streets if necessary. You go tell them get out, and if not, you forcibly remove them. Tarman Gai'shain is close, and she will meet it with clean streets. She's still utterly convinced she is going to succeed in all of her plans. Yeah, she's 100%. Yeah, delusional. There's one as well. But also just confident, just oozing confidence. She already thinks of Brian as Gareth, as her general. Once she's incorporated the rebel army into hers. When the rebels see that their attack is pointless, that the siege is not going to work, they'll come over to her. She will have Gareth on her side. He'll be her general. Blah blah blah. And then she'll have Elaine back in the tower as well, because she's got that. Remember, her foretelling can't be wrong. The Royal House of Andor is key to winning the last battle. Everything is going to plan. Nothing can go wrong. She also finds a report of rats in the tower and orders Tana to have them check too. Check those wards. They've been up for 3,000 years. I'm surprised somebody hasn't checked them now. In the meantime, at least. It's taken this long. But yeah, go check them. She's interrupted by Falana and Egwene, who have found a woman wandering around the tower looking for an audience with her. Tana is like, listen, we're dealing with shit. Tell her to fuck off. But Elaida's like, no. Listen, I am the ambulance seat. This is part of my duties. I haven't seen anyone in ages. Send her in. Let's take a break and listen to this petition from whoever this lady is. Once alone, Elaida tells Tana to make them tea. But before the woman is halfway through her curtsy, the mask of mirrors falls to reveal it's Beonin. She got in very quickly, apparently. I mean, she was just downstairs 5 minutes ago. Tana immediately shields her, but Elaida seems thoroughly unbothered. Like she was expecting her, perhaps? No, Beonin, not you. There's a long no from every reader. She's been an Elaida spy this whole time. She spills all of the beans, but Elaida still considers her a failure. She didn't do anything that she wanted her to do. But she explains, like, this is, you wanted to sow distrust. I sowed the distrust. I was there sowing all day long and indecisions. And then they didn't go anywhere, remember? Well, except for now. They camped outside the tower. But before that, she tells her how Egwene can enter Tel'aran'rhiod without a Tel'aran'rhiod. And she's like, oh my God, Tel'aran'rhiod. Like, we've only dreamed about that. And this girl can enter it all willy-nilly. And wait, you have Tel'aran'rhiod that can help us do that. Even me, like, this is just Christmas Day for her. And she's telling her, like, of course she's using the World of Dreams to come back and tell us not to rescue her and that everything's fine and she's got a plan. And she's like, all the news, everything's spilled. Tana, hearing all of this, brings up Egwene's dream of the Seanchan attack again. But Elaida dismisses it and asks if Beonin brought back anything useful that will save her from her failures. What can save her from all her failures? She wants more juicy details. So yes, actually, here are the weaves for the new healing that everyone's learning, and for traveling and skimming and fucking everything. Just gives her everything. Mm-hmm. Elaida gives Beonin orders not to teach these weaves to anyone else unless she says so. In fact, she makes her swear an oath about it. There's a lot of that going around. Mm-hmm. She also gives up the rebel spies in the tower, exactly who they are. And Elaida orders them watched instead of arrested. She wants to see how deep the rot goes. One of whom is Maidani, who you recall was supposed to rekindle her friendship with Elaida. And Elaida's like, this woman has been trying to rekindle this friendship. Now I know why. Mm-hmm. She sends Tana to invite her to have dinner tonight. It's like, yeah, excellent. You want to rekindle? Let's rekindle. Once alone with Beonin, she tells her to teach her everything she knows. ... And that's how we end the chapter.
Massive disappointment.
I'm so disappointed in you, Beonin.
Surprise why Beonin went and had naps when all of the shit went down. I don't need to plot anything. I'm just right now going to run back to my keeper.
To your keeper?
Elaida.
Oh. Her Amelin.
Keeper.
Not keeper as in...
not Amelin.
Like, am I my brother's keeper kind of
not
thing?
as... Yes. There's that. Not like the keeper of the
Keeper has a
soul.
specific meaning, especially when the keeper is also in the room.
Yes.
Yeah, is this... Like, it's meant to look like Beonin is planning on killing her, right? Because her warder even says so. Like, if you want her killed, I can do it. And like demonstrates how he can just flick a knife out of his sleeve or something. Like, I'll do it. She's like, no, this is for me. Don't worry about it. It makes it even slightly worse because she's being deceitful with her own warder, which is not scoring her any points in my book. Yeah, so disappointing. Elaida traveling. God damn it.
Well, I mean, one good thing is that she's not teaching it to everybody. She's like, nobody's allowed to know unless I say so. So great. It's still a little bit contained.
Luckily, she's paranoid.
And stupid.
Naval, did you have anything you wanted to add to that chapter, really?
No, I think it's... the betrayal is there. We knew it was coming.
We knew?
She's the worst.
A betrayal was coming, yes.
Well, what can you do? It's...
Nothing. It makes the story more interesting.
The rebel, it's all crumbling now.
I'm interested to see Beonin's next interaction with Egwene. That's what I'm looking forward to now. Beonin says in the beginning that she was always super patient, but less so since Saladar, and even less so since Mirundi. What about Saladar made her less patient? Like, was it when she saw how organized these rebel Aes Sedai were, and like what an actual threat they might pose to the White Tower, that maybe she became impatient to get back to Elaida or to get the tower whole again? Because the job that Elaida gives her is to bring all the rebels back, and that's why Elaida says, you didn't do what I asked you to do, right? Like, I told you to not come back here until you've folded all the rebels back into the tower. And And then Mirundi, like what happened there? That's that whole meeting that they had with the nobles from Andor, and then they gatewayed from there to Tarvalon. Right? Like maybe when she caught wind of the fact that they are going to travel to Tarvalon, she was like, "Ugh, yeah, I really need to get to Elaida. There's stuff she needs to know."
Well, there you go.
That's my speculation anyway.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just asking, like, does that make sense to you? Because that's what I'm
getting. It tracks because her objective of just go fetch the missing sheep and bring them back to the shepherd has failed. She realized that the sheep turned all into wolves and they coming for the shepherd. So
that's nice.
Yeah.
My thought was just though that Beonin knows the weave to travel, right? She could have been in and out of Elaida's study every day, telling her everything all the time.
Possibly, but really Elaida told her not to come back until, and now I think she's realized like it's hopeless. I'm out.
Yeah,
there's nothing I can do now.
I mean, if you're a proper undercover, you don't just run back every day to give an update. You live.
But if you have the ability to do it completely undetected, I mean, traveling makes like anything possible.
Yeah, but then you need to explain how all of a sudden Elaida knows how to travel and how all of them all of a sudden know how to travel. Someone went there. You're outing you.
Maybe she had to wait for... Maybe she thinks with Egwene captured, much like some of the Forsaken in the next chapter, think with Egwene captured, the rebellion will fail. Like, Egwene's the figurehead, so now is the time to go back and say, all right, Egwene's captured, let's pull them back in, or whatever. Don't know. Yeah, just thought that she could have seen Elaida much sooner than right now. If she was impatient in Saladar and even more so in Mirundi, there are any number of days and hours in which she could have traveled to the tower and relayed that information. But she waited. So I'm trying to reconcile her being impatient, but also waiting this long.
Well, it was quite of a mission to get in, and all the inverted weaves, and no success that she would get up into Elaida's. I mean, Tarna was about to tell her no. Like, you're not allowed to come in. So she had to wait for the right moment.
Okay, I'll let it slide. Beonin thinks to herself, in this world, advocates rarely become wealthy. I wonder if that was RJ taking a little dig at lawyers.
Yes. Back in the good old
world,
days.
they're not going to have money. Then I've got a note that just says, more ghosts.
Indeed.
And then Elaida, another thing about it, wearing bright red. Like we've read in a couple of chapters recently, specifically the one with Tutama and Pavara and Javindra, where they're saying, well, Elaida's eminent seat now, she's not of a specific Arja, so we don't tell her anything that we're doing with the Ashaman from the Black Tower. But here, Elaida's sitting in her study with like a bright red dress. Like she's not even trying to hide the fact that she's from the Red Archer. She's not supposed to be showing any kind of favoritism or anything, but she's just wiping her ass with tradition.
Yeah.
What else did I have here? There's nothing in the Karaethan cycle about ghosts, so nothing that I could find there. So, Joe, I think you mentioned it was some other dusty old book that you found that in.
But, I mean, even the Seanchan know it, because what's-her-face? Tuan brings it up with Matt. Like, the dead walking is a sign that there's a lot of texts floating around, maybe not the Karaethan cycle exactly.
But they chose not to include it in the Bible.
Yeah, it is known. It's in Apocrypha.
Yeah. What else? Oh, Tana was so right there, like with believing the warning that Egwene gave them, but Elaida just shuts it down like an idiot. You know, like, so she's going to get collared for this. You know, she's going to, this mistake that she's making is going to cause her to be a collared slave.
I'd have no desire to change the course of events right this moment.
It suits us, yeah. That's all from me. So if you guys don't have anything else, we can move on to chapter 3.
Let's carry on.
Rightio, then chapter 3 is called At the Gardens. Who's at the gardens? It's me.
Hey.
We're in the point of view of Arangar, or Halima as we know her. Despite once being a man, she refers to herself as her, and later thinks about how she hardly remembers being a man. She's been summoned to a meeting by Moridin, who summoned her in her dreams, and she arrives to the meeting place in Tel'aran'rhiod after a couple other Forsaken have already arrived. Semirog briefly looks up to see who arrived before going back to a huddled... Semirog briefly looks up to see who arrived before going back to a huddled conversation with Demandred and Mesaana. As you'll recall, the three of them have an uneasy alliance insofar as they wouldn't try to kill each other until the rest of the Forsaken are dead. Arangar notes that Mesaana is looking rather worse for wear, probably after the attentions of Shaidar Haran. Grandel is also there, but she's sitting apart from the others, just watching, and Arangar makes her way to join Grandel. The meeting is set in a replica of the Anceline Gardens, a place that sounds like a retreat of some kind, with towering statues, fine wine and food, and proximity of what sounds like a casino, where, Belthummel had cheated to win money and impress women and that sort of stuff. The Forsaken are being served by creatures called Zomara, one of Agonor's unsettling creations. They are graceful and beautifully androgynous, apparently human despite those dead black eyes. They can detect your instructions for them, but their memory fades within minutes, so they can't relay information. Arangar thinks about how Osangar has not been to any of these meetings since the battle at Shadar Logoth, where we know he was killed. That's Agonor, right? He's dead. She thinks about how Ishamal always did use the Zomara as servants, preferring them over humans, and having 11 of them there must mean that Moridin thinks this is a very important meeting. Is this the first time that we see someone connect Moridin with Ishamal?
I think so. It was my interpretation, at least.
I don't remember. If our listeners remember another time where someone made that link, let us know. One of the other Forsaken specifically, but I don't think any of the other Forsaken have spoken about it openly. But Arangar thinks here that her abilities in the world of dreams are not the strongest. She can't even find Egwene's dreams without being right next to her, but at least she can control how she looks here in Tel'aran'rhiod. In case it wasn't known, this meeting is taking place in Tel'aran'rhiod. So Arangar makes her way to Grandel and starts up a conversation asking who Grandel thinks arrived first. Grandel smiles and says it was her that arrived first, and by protocol, she set the scenery. Arangar thinks all the other Forsaken are fools for living in or clinging to the past, and that only she was really suitable to rule in this age, just like every other Forsaken. Even though Arangar hardly remembers being a man, she does find Grandel quite attractive, especially in her streath dress. She casually puts it to Grandel that all the other Forsaken seem to have alliances and that only the two of them stand alone, but Grandel preaches caution since the room may have ears. The Zomara were already there before she arrived, so who knows what Moridin has hidden there. But Arangar laughs it off, saying that all Moridin would think is that Arangar is trying to seduce Grandel because Moridin knows she never makes alliances. Well, in secret she had formed many alliances, but the others allied to her have always met an unfortunate end. This makes Grandel's streath gown go completely black before dimming again as she speaks. So black seems to indicate annoyance. Transparency seems to relate to how open and vulnerable the wearer feels. She makes some non-committal remarks about considering Arangar's proposal, but as she puts it, will need some convincing. Arangar goes as far as reaching out and touching Grandel's neck, but she looks past her to see Mesaana, Demandred, and Semirog approaching. Semirog seems to be smiling about something, while Demandred and Mesaana both look furious. So what could Semirog have told them? Maybe about the slaughter in Shiandar? Are they perhaps jealous of the level of chaos?
Yeah.
Yes. Let the Lord of Chaos rule. Check this thing I did. Because Demandred would at this time be busy fulfilling the prophecy of the Wild in Shara, and Mesaana, we know, is busy disrupting the White Tower from within. Mesaana immediately starts berating Arangar for letting Egwene get out from under her supervision. She thinks that without the figurehead among the rebels, the rebellion will die, but Mesaana wants the rebellion alive and kicking so it keeps the tower fractured. But Arangar, with effort, just smiles and tells her that she had eavesdropped on the meeting of the rebel hall with Egwene in Tel'aran'rhiod, where Egwene told the rebel sisters she has everything firmly in control, that the tower itself seems fractured, and that the rebel victory is closer than they thought. Arangar even puts it to Mesaana that if anything is going to fall apart first, it's likely the White Tower, and she should be keeping a tight rein on things. Mesaana seems relieved that the rebellion is not doomed. She had even been tempted to stage some kind of rescue, but now it seems unnecessary. Mesaana's just taking everything that Arangar is saying here as true, which is interesting, right? Like Arangar saying, no, the rebels are fine, don't worry, they're going to... And Mesaana's like, oh, okay, cool, I trust you, which is weird behavior. specifically for Forsaken and Dark Friends.
Yes.
Arengar seems to want to make a show of flirting with Grendel by playing with her hair, and Grendel doesn't flinch, nor does her streath change color, so Arengar figures she's either enjoying it or has incredible control over her emotions. Demandred is less amused and tells him to go find a room. Arengar asks Missana where Egwene is being kept, but Missana straight up tells her she won't say. She doesn't want Arengar to attempt a rescue either. Grendel lets out a hiss as Arengar realizes the hand in Grendel's hair has clenched into a fist. The street dress starts turning red and darkening, and red signals anger, so that's pretty obvious why that's happening here. Arengar is no longer playing nice and demands to know where Egwene is. Without her, she has very little to work with, but Missana calmly holds firm and tells Arengar in no uncertain terms that the whole plan was hers and that she will readjust as required. She will decide when or if the girl is freed. And then, no, Missana, I will decide when and where or whether she is freed. In walks Moridin, who always likes to make a grand entrance. He is accompanied by Moridin and Sindain, both dressed in Moridin's colours of red and black. Arengar can't imagine what kind of hold he may have on them. Moridin never willingly followed anyone, and when Arengar had previously approached Sindain to learn something about her, Sindain had coldly threatened to rip her heart out if she ever touched her again, so also not seemingly someone that would follow easily. I just love Lanfear's attitude, like Arengar trying to like seduce her and touch her, and she's like, I will rip your heart out. Just
and will. That's not an idle threat.
No, that's a promise. Moridin announces that it seems like Samael has resurfaced as he takes a seat, with Moridin and Sindain sitting on either side of him. Grendel reckons it's impossible for Samael to be back, as she and the others take their time to take their own seats. Nobody other than Sindain and Moridin seem willing to show any kind of subservience, even to the nameless. Even now, Arengar is plotting how to pull Moridin down and figures however it happens, Moridin and Sindain are the key. Ishamael was half mad before becoming Moridin and likely would go even madder from channeling the true power so much now. Apparently the true power is now restricted to only be used by Moridin, but Arengar doesn't seem too fazed by that because the price is too high in her estimation. Demandred reckons Samael would never have been able to remain hidden for this long. Samael needed to have every eye directed at him. Moridin says perhaps someone disguised as Samael gave the orders to Trollocs and Madrol to travel the ways, and since the Madrol obeyed, it must have been one of the chosen. When Semirog asks what those orders were, Moridin admits he doesn't know, but they sent 100 Madrol and thousands of Trollocs through the ways. Do you guys remember who could have done this? Who's
Faile?
That's one possibility I thought of as well. Like, we know he's had some control over Fades and Trollocs, but 100 Fades and thousands of Trollocs. That's bigger than we've read of before, but quite possibly.
Look, that none of the other Forsaken match. Like, none of the other Forsaken, in their POVs, know who it is. And Moridin doesn't know who it is. Fucking no one knows who it is. Surely if it was a Forsaken, one of them would know something.
You would think so.
Oh, it was me. Or I assume it was this one or that one. But no one knows shit. So it only leaves me with
it kind
of
strikes me as well that the Forsaken, other that they made the Madrol and the Trollocs and all of that, don't particularly want to hang out with them. They're tools to be used in achieving something.
But they do
where
use them.
Fain is quite happy to, be a leader within the ranks.
But they do order Trollocs and Madrol around a lot. Remember, was it Samael or someone that sent the Trollocs into the Stone of Tyr? Like there was a whole bait and switch there. Someone sent Trollocs in via river barge and they were snuck in the middle of the night and that sort of stuff. So, I mean, they do operate with them.
No, they do operate with them, but this is a heap of them following.
And we only have Arengar's point of view here, right? If Moridin doesn't know who sent them and one of the Forsaken in the room here did do it, they're not going to go, oh yeah, by the way, that was me, my bad. Sorry, everyone. They'd keep it a secret because, who knows why they were doing it either.
But I don't know. But I feel that RJ would have written it that one of them gives a little, the side of their mouth goes up in a smile or something, they don't notice me.
Looks at the ceiling.
They wouldn't be able to contain themselves.
No. Okay, so then Demandred admits that this does sound like something Samael would do. He must have been mistaken. So this is a rare admission coming from Demandred. So Arengar thinks he could be hiding the fact that it was him that did it. So Arengar does think, oh, Demandred, you were too quick to admit that you were wrong. Maybe it was Samael. So now I think it's you. Moridin orders them all to report, and for their dark friends to all report sightings or encounters with Trollocs or Madral outside of the Blight directly to him. The end times are near and, quote, no one is allowed to go adventuring on their own any longer, which I thought was hilarious. And then looks at Missana and he says, as you learned to your sorrow. And she just pales like under his gaze. You know, it's just Moridin's phrasing of like, no one can go out adventure. I just imagine like the Trollocs in the Madral, like setting out on a grand adventure, you know, slinging their clothes over their shoulder. Let's go adventuring. But Moridin here obviously, referencing Missana's absence from the battle at Shadar Logoth when she had been summoned. Demandred brings up the seals and the fact that his people have been searching for them everywhere to no avail. Moridin agrees there are 3 left and all of them are with Rand, but he won't have them with him. They're too susceptible to breaking now. He figures Rand would have them hidden somewhere, so he orders the Forsaken to go everywhere Rand has been and to search for themselves. Sindain chimes in with an idea to kidnap Lews Therin. She can make him tell her where the seals are, and Arangar thinks how Grandal had said that Lanfear was dead, but Sindain was referring to the dragon as Lews Therin and seemed to be furious with him, much like Lanfear. But Moridin shuts that idea down firmly. They might accidentally kill him, and only Moridin decides when and where Rand will die. Which is ironic, because remember the last meeting with Moridin is like, if he tries to cleanse Sidene, kill him. Everybody go there. And now, nobody, hands off. Don't even... He's just mad as Norris.
It's really hard being a dark friend and a Forsaken. You never know what orders you're supposed to follow.
Reporting to a madman.
Yeah.
He strokes the mind traps under his coat for added effect, and both Sindain and Moghedian have like a visible reaction. This makes Arangar think that when she eliminates Moridin, she'll have Moghedian and Sindain on a leash. Moridin looks at the rest of them and he tells all of them, this goes for all of you, right? Nobody touch Rand. Nobody's to harm Rand at all. If they want to kill someone, kill these 2. And he creates the images of Mat and Perrin standing in the middle of the circle of chairs, rotating the images. Grandal gives a mirthless laugh and says it's even harder to find Ta'veren than before now, because look, the pattern is in flux, so like you can't just look for weird things happening, because weird things are happening fucking everywhere. It seems like the first time Semirog has seen their images, and she tells Moridin if he had shown them sooner, they may already have been taken care of. But Moridin slams his armrest and shouts at them to find them and kill them. The time is coming and they must be dead. Arangar thinks to herself she doesn't mind killing these 2 if they cross her path, but Moridin is going to be bitterly disappointed about Rand al'Thor. End of chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Who did you say Semirog was the last person to you in the
Semirog had never seen the images before, so you know that she wasn't at the Darkwind Social. Remember at the Darkwind Social there were also images of all 3 boys.
Of all 3 boys.
Yeah, but I think it was only Ishamal from the Forsaken that was there.
When your manager calls a meeting and you don't go, then this is what happens. You didn't get the memo.
You get sent to HR or Shada Haran.
Or you're left out in the cold. I honestly think that this meeting is more just about their planning, but in bringing to light that there is a crazy man also on the loose controlling forces that they should own. Because that's not a small thing. 100 Madral, thousands of Trollocs.
No, it's not.
It's a force. Then to remind us, hey, Perrin Fain's still there.
I wonder because
he didn't disappear.
Because we all jump to Paden Fane because we know Samael is dead. But to a first-time reader, maybe this is a little redirect to think, maybe he is alive. Because so many Forsaken die and then come back.
Yeah, true.
We already know he's not coming back, so we have made another assumption. But maybe this was the redirect. It is Demandred. Because you don't know Demandred's in Shara at this point if you're reading for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So we already know all the shit, so we've already just jumped over it. No, it's not him, it's him.
This also creates a bit of a stronger link between Grandal and Arangar, Halima, which is when Rand destroys Grandal's palace in Aradoman. It's after Halima and Delana have fled there, and then Rand ends up killing them, but Grandal gets away. So maybe this is also just connecting those dots, Arangar and Grandal, and why
while they'll be there later,
they would flee to Aradoman when Rand is attacking there. Okay, well, there isn't too much more to discuss there. We can forge ahead to chapter 4 called A Deal. Vil, can you deal with chapter 4, please?
Deal you 2 cards face down, but only if you ante up. Right.
Yep.
We are in the point of view of the beefy boy. Yes, we are back with Perrin, and he is about to strike a deal with the devil, so to speak. They are in a forested, surrounded meadow that is not more than 300 paces in
diameter.
just I took a moment to think there.
It's cool, man.
Surrounded by leather leaves and thickets and oaks and all the rest. Now, he's not alone. He's got a party of aanhangers with him, but not that many. Berebabe is there. You remember Berebabe, Joe? She's dressed in red silk today. Perrin remarks that she's showing much more bosom than normal. With his wolfy eyes, he klops a good look, and she smells of flowers. He'd like to find out what the flower is that she smells like. Probably something like jasmine or something. You know, it's
Take it easy, Perrin.
Doesn't grow in the mountains there. Arganda's there. He's not stoked. Arganda's never stoked. We know that about him.
Never been stoked in his life.
And he is of the opinion that they're not going to show. This meeting is not going to happen. There's 50 of Beerlane's Maena guard there, 50 Gildanan soldiers, and only two Rivers men, because that's all you need, two of them to carry the banner of the wolf and the banner of Manetheren, which is with Perrin both over there. Ashaman Grady is there. Anaya is aanhangsel or hanger on to Beerlane there. But we will learn that she'll also get dismissed. I mean, do you really want to hang around when the Seanchan approach for a meeting as an Aes Sedai?
Anaya?
Anura, sorry.
Anura,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Anaya,
thanks.
Anura, same. Right. Everyone is concerned that this is a trap, but it is a risk worth taking. Yeah, parlay time. Again, there is blue gill whistles. I want to say blue tit, blue gill. Can't remember. And that is the sign from the two Riversmen balance that are all within bowshot reach of said meeting place, because one does not go into a knife fight not having a gun under your cloak. And
as the old adage goes.
Yes, something like that. Then, because now Tel'aran'rhiod is spotted, and he is riding as promised with the Seanchan for this meeting. Introductories will come soon. So the rest of the people have asked to depart, and one of those is Aram, because he's hothead and a lunatic now. He's been under Massima's guise and teachings every night, sitting down on the floor next to Massima while Massima preaches dragon stories to him. Anyway, pleasantries commence, and Tel'aran'rhiod introduces a dark grey-haired woman with 2 scars across her face. She takes in the banners, and then she spots Perrin's eyes, and her scent changes, and then she sees the hammer, and it's that Vince McMahon meme where he falls off the chair, and after the introductions pass, and Perrin's one, she's like, "Oh, I'm so stoked that they didn't introduce you as the Wolf King." So it turns out Perrin is also in the prophecies when the Wolf King, who bears the hammer, rides, or something of the sort.
When the Wolf King carries the hammer, thus are the final days known. Joe, yours head
right in front of me right now.
There you go. Anyway,
we
is
got you, Billy. We got your back.
Tylee Kiergan, who is the banner general for that force of Seanchan, and with her is her captain, Bayar Mishima. He is a good captain, I will call him for now. Right. But Perrin doesn't have time for Wolf King talk. He doesn't have time for Arthur Hawking talk after Berylane was introduced as in Pine Dragon. It raffles off into how she could be in the good books of the Empress May she live forever. And Perrin's like, his attitude has not changed. It doesn't matter who he meets. No time for that. Business. Let's move forward. With one direction. Faile. Now, honesty comes out, mate. We know you've got men in the woods. And he's like, Mishima is like, well, if you know we've got men in the woods, then you've got men in the woods. Ha ha! That's when Perrin does his sticky trick. He pulls the stick, which was when they started getting ready for all of this. He's got a piece of oak or whatever it is, and to point the stick into the sky, and the next minute 2 arrows thud into it from 300 paces away, saying, look, Duriva's men aren't soldiers, and you've got trained soldiers, but your men will not know they're dead until they're dead. So just hear it. But tricks and power is not over, because then the stick goes for a flight. It's magic stick. It's like a broomstick now, flying into the air and burst into flames.
It's Quidditch time.
Yeah, well, I want to say slim fang say bars. What's English for that?
Fuck, dude.
Put a pin in it.
Call back.
He didn't think about the fact that the arrowheads is now also going to burn, and these arrowheads fall to the ground and they start a bushfire. Yeah. And before Perrin could get off his horse to put out said bushfire, good Nori puts out the fire with Damani powers, and gets praised for being a very good Nori. You listen so well. Yeah. And at that moment, immediately, Tylee's like, oh, you've got some Aes Sedai with you. And Nori's like, no, Nori did not feel Aes Sedai. Shaman. And there's, parents leveled up. See, I also have trickery. I've got Ashaman. And they've heard about Ashaman. They've heard of Dumai's Wells. They realize it's nothing to play about. Either which way, they agree to True Stalks starts then. And Todd, Todd, he's the guy that's carrying the banner of Manetheren. He gets summoned. Perrin rolls up the banner and basically gives it to Tylee and say, here's the deal. 2 Rivers, old land of Manetheren, we're not even going to fight. We take what we need to, but I need your help. Basically, he's bargaining Manetheren with her, saying, this is what it is. All that matters to me is I need to get that Shadow camp destroyed and get my wife. That's all I care about. Timestamp then occurs, and we've got sulfur wind blowing through, and everyone is looking at everyone's like, is this your trickery? Some more show of your power? And everyone's like, nope, and agree that this is just some oddness that is occurring. The withdrawal is then sounded. Tylee gives Mishima the instruction to withdraw the men. He blows a horn or signals. Perrin does it old school, back of his hand, just shouts, booming voice. And poor Tylee's like, jeez. Okay, that's a little bit hectic in the ear. But that's it. Stage 1 done. They got their trap and being trapped situation cleared. They can start talking business now. It's sitting down and cut a deal time. Perrin enlightens her with his small inventory of men and what he has to offer in this deal of battle, and what he wants to achieve. Get in there, you can take anything that's not in white. They're like, yeah, they don't really take gai'shain from their skirmishes with ale unless they are ale, because they make great dakoval. They like really listen. It's like, we'll take those. They're good.
They're in for a surprise a year and a day from now.
Yes, they don't know yet.
When that gai'shain / dakoval stick a spear in your ribs.
There's 100,000 shadow dogs there. And Savannah's name has even spread to have reached Tylee's ear. She's like, oh, wouldn't mind taking the Savannah and showing her a thing of two. It's fierce battling, according to Nishima, with these Aiel. It's nasty business because they fight like cats and dogs. But he says eventually if you like surround them and bomb them with the power, they eventually give in. But it's nasty because the kids fight along with the adults, with everyone picks up a spear. It sounds like there's been quite the battle before, and it's a glum prospect to go into again. Daughter of the Nine Moons name is dropped at that point in time. But yes, this is where they sort of look at their odds and say, well, the ever victorious army have never lost, and Perrin doesn't like this. And she's like, no, I've heard that you have lost against the Dragon Reborn, so that name doesn't really stand. It's just the army.
The army.
Anyway, the plan Perrin then eventually gets to is you've got a special tea that makes people not channel. And they're like, yeah, it works on men and women both. And I need a lot of it. We can deliver it to the drinking water and dose them over a period of time. And they're like, yeah, you've great plans, but it's all the way back in Tarabon. We've got to go all the way there and fetch it. This time is not on your side. And then he's like, but wait. How about I make magic gates for you and we walk out as if it's in 2 minutes? And Tylee eyes him up and down, thinking, a man who's got all these weird friends, and this ability, and then the letter that he hands them, saying, oh yeah, by the way, I've got this letter from Suroth. And she's like, yo, what are we dealing with here? Who are you?
This is the one they stole from Masima.
Yep, the one they stole from Masima. And he's like, I'm just a man who wants his wife back. And they're starting to cut the deal. End of chapter.
Good one. Joseph. Anything?
Yeah. Perrin has no intention of ever raising Moridin back from the dead, so to give it to the Seanchan is fucking great. Great deal for me.
It's the rumors of him running around, resurrecting Moridin.
I've been wanting to get rid of that flag for months. So, awesome. And also, Tylee is in Avatar The Last Airbender as one of the characters. So whenever I read this name, I imagine this tiny little anime girl that's all bubbly and kick-ass. She's a crazy martial artist that puts people to sleep through pressure points. Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, this Tylee could probably do something similar.
Probably. This is Tylee grown up. This is what happened to her after the events.
Tylee's scent changes when, she sees Perrin's eyes and then the hammer, and she's like, oh, good thing they didn't introduce you as the Wolf King. But he has golden eyes. There's a wolf head banner right behind him, and he's carrying a hammer of all things. It's like, it's pretty close, Tylee. Don't be too relieved. But yeah, it's just cool whenever people recognize Perrin and the significance of his presence. My last note about Tylee is that she's cool. She's a cool character. And there's a cool thing that she does for Matt. Not a huge thing, but just like a cool gesture that she makes toward Matt in the last book, which I won't spoil here.
Yes, please don't.
I
do not recall.
But that is it. That's all I've got, Joe. So if you and I are done with chapter 4, then we can just barrel ahead straight into chapter 5 called Something Strange. Speaking of strange, Jody, can you give us a quick recap, please?
There's something strange in my neighborhood.
Who are you going to call?
Perrin.
Ghostbusters.
Call Perrin. No, fucking Ghostbusters. Call Perrin. Because we're talking about his wife.
Hey, in these chapters, you probably need the Ghostbusters now to shoot you laser beams and get some 100%. Of these. These days is filled with them ghosts.
Yeah.
But they disappear by themselves. It's going to be hard to trap them. So speaking of his wife, the last thing that Willie said was Perrin's lines like, "I'm just a man looking for my wife." Bomb. Speaking of her, here she is. We hop over to Faile. She's become very good gai'shain. She's not loving it. I was going to just joke and say she's loving it, but I'm lying. She's not. I won't even try. It's been nearly a month since she was taken. She says this. So timeline shenanigans are gone. We know for a fact. And she's been switched 9 times. So she's learned what to do and, more importantly, what not to do around Savannah. And Tel'aran'rhiod and all the other crazies. So she's in Savannah's tent now. She was woken up in the middle of the night to come and stand next to this sleeping woman in case she woke up and needed something. She's just thinking like, I don't even know kings and queens who do this kind of shit. So this chick's crazy. So she's in her tent now, serving her wine for breakfast. I was thinking, lady, first step is admitting you have a problem. Savannah has 12 gai'shain waiting on her at all times. And then they take shifts. It's ridiculous. Tel'aran'rhiod and Galena are in the tent as well now. Galena, who is completely naked and beaten to a pulp. That even had to start beating the soles of her feet because there's no more place on her body because it's covered in welts. She's having a bad time. She's also just started to regrow the hair that was completely removed from every inch of her body with the one power. She was singed clean. That's when she came back from the meeting with Perrin. Like the beatings have not stopped. So even other Shido, like there's talk amongst the Shido about how Galena is being treated too harshly. The Shido, guys. So one of the other Wetlander gai'shain is there, Lusara, who has also sworn fealty to Faile since we last saw her. I imagine this happened off page, or it could have been happened in the text 5 minutes ago. Yeah, she's just gathering forces. So she serves Tel'aran'rhiod water. This Lusara girl, and on her way back to her place in the line, she gives Faile a sneaky conspiratorial smile, like, yeah, "How you doing? Same team." And she's like, "Come on, man, don't do shit like that." She got beaten last time for a sigh that came out at the wrong time, so don't smile and look at me. Anything can get us into trouble. So anyway, Tel'aran'rhiod is there to convince Savannah to move the Shido to the mountains in the northeast. I looked on a map. I'm assuming the hills of Kintara, because there are no mountains. Those are, I suppose, maybe to the Aiel. I mean, no, they know the spider.
Tel'aran'rhiod at one point was keen for them to retreat to Kinslayer's dagger.
Yeah, but they're far, far away from that.
They are.
They're in Altara. So I don't know what mountains she's talking about. So the only mountains that are northeast of there are the hills of Kintara. There you go.
Okay.
So everyone knows.
Maybe it's an ironic name.
Maybe. Perhaps. She's like, "Hey man, me, the clan chiefs, bunch of us, we're too exposed here. This is a dangerous place to be. Savannah is not having it. They have everything they need here. More water than any clan has ever seen in their entire lives in the history of the Aiel. We've got our raids bring back sheep and chickens and lambs and all the kinds of shit we need. We have their seeds, we can plant crops. Like, what are you talking about? This place is awesome. And there's so many of us. No one's going to attack us here. There's what did you say, Moritz? 170,000?
Yeah.
Like, no one's going to come against us here. You are living in a dream world. Savannah wants to stay for other reasons because she still believes she can marry Rand. She's like Elaida in that respect. Just mad ideas of the future that will no way become true. She's going to marry Rand, she's going to unite the clans, and she's going to rule over all of the wetlands. But even the clan chiefs are ready to go. she says they've been pushing the panic buttons on their fool boxes every morning, is some of the rumors. So they still have some of those are Samael's boxes, right? Samael.
Yes.
But they use the name that he gave it to them.
Yes.
And who's able to translate it? Saying like, what are these? It was more gays?
Faile.
Faile.
In this chapter, she recognizes the old tongue, and she's like, "This would
just like
mean
idiot box or
box of fools."
Yes,
is what she translates it as, or something. I just call them fool boxes because that's how I put my adjectives.
Grendel was the one with Samael when he gave it to them, and she's like, she's the one that says, "You call them idiot boxes? You're just tempting fate."
Yeah, because people know some old tongue.
The old tongue, yes.
Yeah, lots of people all over. Anyway, so she wants to marry Ran and rule everything, but the chiefs are ready to go. And Thurava warns Savannah to heed the wise ones. And also, by the way, Benduin, the Sept chief of the Green Salts, got permission to go to Ruidian and left 5 days ago. Doing it without informing Savannah, who is pissed that they are trying to replace her. Thurava has to remind her, no, we're replacing your dead husband, remember? You are not the clan chief. You seem to be forgetting this a lot. We are replacing Couladin, not you. But she is not happy about any of that. She is in charge, and that's the end of that. And that's when Faile and the other night shifters leave the tent. When the new morning shift comes in, Faile has to leave, and she doesn't get the rest of that conversation. Almost back at her tent, she runs into another wise one, Mira. She's from the White Cliffs. She's been looking for Faile and thought she had been accosted by another drunken Shido, because that news has spread, and it's happened multiple times since. And she's been saved every time by Roland, just to build him up a little bit more before his head gets smashed in. In fact, Roland also got some minders for Aleandre and Morgaze to protect them from some drunken Moridin. So he's like organizing to protect Faile and her friends, knowing if I look after her, maybe what happens in white will stay in white with me. But all that Mira wants is a report on what Savannah said and did. But mid-debrief, the world ripples. More of that weirdness that's making it hard to find Ta'Veren. Everything ripples. Like one ripple goes through the tent and through your body and through your brain and through your mind and soul. And then a second ripple and a third ripple. And when Faile thinks that fourth ripple that's going to destroy the whole world and disintegrate her doesn't come, she is somewhat relieved. But it wasn't just her, it was everybody. It went through the whole town, it went through everybody. It's not just her imagination. Mira is standing there all shocked. She asks her what it was, and she's like, I have no idea what the fuck that was. Sends Faile off in a hurry, go and do your stuff. And Faile is very happy to run off, and she does run, dashing madly, in fact, back to her tent, splashing mud on her clean robes, which is a big no-no, because she's got those white robes on with the gold belts and collar that she has to wear all the time. Anyway, Savannah doesn't like it if you're dirty, but she doesn't give a fuck. She's running. She shares her tent with Morgaze, Aleandre, and another noblewoman called Darain, a snitch for Savannah. So they have to be very careful what they say and do around her, because she's the kind of person that sells other people out to save her own butt.
Tisk tisk.
Yes. Only Aleandre is there, though, soothing a beaten bottom with herbs. She's lying on her stomach with her butt in the air. A month ago, she would have been mortified to have a naked butt in the same area as someone else. But she can't give two fucks anymore. There's much bigger things to worry about in her life. And she only just raises herself on her elbows when Faile enters. They have a little conversation. She breaks down in tears. Aleandre, that is. She's at the end of her rope. All hope is gone. They're never going to escape. They're all going to die here. The world is going to end. But Faile puts on her pep talk boots and brings her out of her despair. They will escape. They will find her. Trust me. Believe in me. Blah, blah, blah. And kind of stops her from crying. At least the tears stop. I don't know if she's completely convinced that everything is going to be all right.
No.
Anyway. Aravine, another of Faile's cronies, then pops her head into the tent and tells Faile, yeah, you got to come check this out. And Faile's like, listen, I'm a bit busy soothing and calming. She's like, no, you got to come. There's another guy, Elvon. This is more of these people that have just joined since we last saw. Elvon and his son. I can't remember what his name is. I've written it there, but I think that's autocorrect. Therill, that's it. Elvon and Therill. They too have sworn fealty to Faile and are legendary almost escapers. 3 times now they have escaped, and every time it took longer and longer for the Aiel, the Shido, to find them and bring them back. So they become legends, and they get beaten and punished badly, and it just never seems to deter them. They are, I'm getting the fuck out of here if it kills me. They are the best. This dad and this kid. Yeah, they're very, very cool.
Ballsy.
Ballsy.
As you will now elucidate.
Right now, let me tell you how ballsy they are. Turns out that Therill was just so happened to be walking by Tharava's tent and nobody was around, so he went, fuck it. He just let's have a peek inside. Waltzed in and yoinked out the oath rod. And he's like, here it is. I've got it in my hand. You can have it. Faile yoinks it up her sleeve quickly and tells him that, listen, thank you. This is awesome. Great that you did this. But we've got to be clear that Galina, the Aes Sedai, offered only to save us, and my people. I don't know if she can bring all of you along when we escape and all of that. Like, I don't want to give you false hope. But swears an oath to free old Therill and Elvon if it's within her power, and she'll do everything to set them free. And Elvon's like, listen, I may be a commoner, but I'm no fool. Listen, Galina is no Aes Sedai. She is Tharava's toy. She's not going anywhere. He can see it as we can see it.
Yeah.
And these two legends, this father and son legendary, do not want any of Faile's oath. They're like, listen, we understand exactly what your situation is and what our situation is. You wanted the oath rod. It was there. We grabbed it. We don't expect anything back from you in these situations. And we are just happy that we're fucking with the Shido. Like, if it upsets them, we win. Their chat is interrupted by the arrival of Roland. He's no fool either, and he knows what she is up to. And who knows how long he was standing behind the tent, because they are sneaky, these Aiel. You don't hear them approaching. So anyway, the rest of them are sent off. Like, Elvon looks like he's ready to attack Roland. Faile's like, listen, dude, no, chill. I know him. He's cool. You can go. You would also just be killed instantaneously. And Roland's like, listen, you're playing a dangerous game here, Faile. But I can help you, though. He and his buddies, they've been talking. And they figure it's time to head back to the Threefold Land. They've been in the wetlands long enough. And these Shido, they make them sick. Because these are Moridin. They are brotherless. They don't want to be around the Shido anymore. And we're going to head back. And a couple of my guys are going to take... They've found some wetlanders to warm their beds. And they're going to be taking them with, too. And if we go, I'll take you with, too. I can bring you along. She's like, listen, that's a very cool offer, but I am married, remember? I'm still in love with Perrin. I'm still waiting for him to come and rescue me. But he says, like, listen, I understand that, but, what happens in white stays in white, and he should never have made her gai'shain in the first place, and he's sorry about that. And she's like, what the fuck? This is all coming as quite of a shock. And he says, listen, even that, you come with me. I won't take you all the way to the waste. I will drop you off at the nearest town, and you can sell that gold necklace and belt that Savannah makes you wear, and you'll have enough money to go and do whatever you want. And she's shocked, because at the beginning of this chapter, forgot to mention it, she's wondering where Perrin is. Why hasn't he caught up? Why hasn't he tried to attack and to rescue her? And also, he shouldn't attack and rescue her. No. She's into... That's a bad idea. Don't do it, Perrin. But why haven't you? Yes. Not at all surprised. So she's a bit of like, now she has this opportunity. Like, this guy is a very real opportunity to get her and her buddies out of here. And he's not going to take her to the waste. So that'll be great. And he's going to let her go. And this could be great. And then she can get back to Perrin, and he doesn't have to attack, and none of this has to go. She doesn't have to try and sneak out. And this Galina thing is not going to work anyway. And now she's got the rod, so fuck you. I'm just going to keep it. So now she's a bit torn. She actually, breaks down crying and like leans against his chest, and he gives her a hug and comforts her. Roland, that is. So there's a little intimate moment there between the two of them. So she's torn between her own escape plan, with Perrin's escape plan. Obviously, he doesn't know he has one, but she knows he has one, and this new opportunity. Anything could happen with her plan, and she's in a tight spot. But none of that matters now, because Thorava has discovered that the rod is missing, and all hell breaks loose. And you can go read that in the rest of the chapters. But basically, you could imagine the end. So we have to leave them for this little moment.
Yes. Willie, anything that stood out to you there or that you wanted to call out?
I am starting to think that weirdness that goes through them is because they're quite a distance away from Dragon Mount. That weirdness is like when there's an explosion, you have wind in the near circle, but you've got a shock wave.
The shock wave from the...
Like a shock wave of weirdness that goes through it from Dragon Mount. That was the only thing. I mean, the rest of it is pretty self-explanatory.
Because I don't think the smell would get to them.
Yeah, because remember, Perrin gets the smell and the sulfur, but nowhere near the extent of the wind that we get earlier on, right next to Dragon Mount with Siuan. But their camp and where they are is well and truly away from, and we learned with Galena, like the trees are different because they're
2 days ride.
Traveling the whole time to and fro to the Shido camp. So that was the only thing that I was pondering about there. But for the rest of it, it's pretty straightforward.
I mean, nobody else experienced any shock waves. None of the Aes Sedai camped when the wind came. There was no mention of shock waves or anything. I don't know that what happened here all the way in Amadicia is necessarily linked to the start of the chapter in Dragon Mount.
What does link it is the time of day when it happens. The night shift that just ended. Siuan was woken by this in the early mornings at Dragon Mount. Perrin was been on his horseback early in the morning waiting for this meeting. All of it tracks in time.
But none of that connects to Faile's time, yeah.
Faile's that she walked out from being dismissed from the night shift. It was early in the morning.
Early morning.
They were tending to Savannah, and then the replacements came. So it was early in the morning as well.
But what I mean is like dates wise, like, I mean, sure, that's the same time of day, but we don't know if it's.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. It's like it's like the channeling event, something that ties
like
it
a through
all
line
up. So
for
there's
everyone to sense.
there's no shenanigans with time now. We are all. The story is right here, right now.
But nobody else. So Perrin smelled sulfur, but like didn't because the way Faile explained it is, it feels like it's going to pull your entire body apart. It's very different from how anyone else that has experienced this thing.
Like becoming transparent. So I was like, okay, cool. How could something like this? I've been close to like a very big explosion, like. Being hit by a shockwave. It does feel like your body's going to get pulled apart. It's a weird sensation. It's and I mean, you can write it to be even more weirder, and if you don't know what it is, you'd go like, holy smokes, what was that? Because it's not always necessarily.
Those would be my exact words.
Holy smokes.
But maybe this is like an aftershock. The initial was in the real world, Dragon Mount having a little pop, boop, and just sending all of this wind and this gust and this sulfur down. And then the pattern rippled behind it afterwards because it was magic.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm just inventing shit. So then there's like a metaphysical reaction afterwards.
There's all kinds of crazy shit that's happening, right?
Yeah,
in the chapters that
any
come,
way you want.
Villages sinking into the ground, people turning like into beetles. Even a chapter with Elaine where she's getting lost in the Camelin Palace, and I don't know if that's because she is pregnant or if that thing that happens in the tower is happening there, where corridors no longer lead where they used to. There's a lot of weird shit that's happening quite often now. And Grandel even said, like, we can't just go looking for Tel'aran'rhiod anymore because weird shit's happening everywhere. We can't just bank on weird stuff happening being at Tel'aran'rhiod. Yeah, let's see. It's interesting. I think the chapter starts with Thorava asking Savannah who had approved Couladin. ...
Yes.
And we fill in the blank to go to Ruidian, right? And Savannah sort of very quickly changes the topic because without finding which wise ones gave Couladin permission to go to Rhuidean, it would become obvious that he didn't go to Rhuidean and therefore obtained his marking some other way, and therefore was never clan chief to begin with, and that
therefore
would
your
just
powers
immediately dissolve exactly anything that Savannah had. So yeah, she's exposed there because it would have been Shido wise ones, right? So like the wise ones that potentially gave Couladin, if he was given permission, would be around here. Or three of the, because I think it's 3 that have to give permission, or 4, 5, 3, 5, something like that. 3.
Yes.
Yeah, so Savannah could potentially run into some issues if Tharava keeps pushing down that line. Like, who did approve Couladin going to Rhuidean? Wait, line them all up, 400 of you. No.
We couldn't stay a fly in the wall for that discussion between the two of them, because it's now becoming quite clear that the writing's on the wall. Like, okay, look, shit's going to go down. We don't get to experience how it all goes down. But yeah, she got herself into a tangle.
Big time. And Faile very astutely surmises that Savannah and Tharava have a very antagonistic relationship, but at times they act like co-conspirators due to something shared that makes them both uncomfortable. And that was the murder of Gai'shain, with the One Power, which they use as the catalyst to attack at Dumai's Wells. So yeah, Savannah is walking the razor's edge here. Right? Like,
Savannah also didn't bargain on all the Shido wise ones all of a sudden being together.
Actually, she manufactured exactly that. So when Samael gave the idiot boxes to all the Shido, she made sure that the wise ones traveled with her. She had them with her. That's why there are so many of them, even though all the other septs were so scattered. She had all the wise ones.
Not very thinky, that one.
No. What else did I have here? Like when Roland was protecting Faile, twice he got into actual fights, and one time he killed a guy.
Killed a man.
Yeah. He's not playing around.
To court, he got judged for it, and they were like, "Oh no, fair fight."
Yeah.
He was drunk, trying to rape somebody, and you saved him. It's a good man. Cheers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is everything that I had for chapter 5.
You sound surprised.
I am surprised. I feel like we've just sort of burned through these chapters really quickly, but I get the sense that a lot of these like introductory chapters in the books are just like, all right, cool, let's move the story forward, and like the intrigue and stuff comes in drips and drabs and maybe intensifies towards the end. But here, Perrin meeting Tylee, Faile getting the oath rod, it's all just moving the plot ahead, which is cool.
It is all good board setting for the beginning of a book in a really rad way. Like, we know where Rand is. No, we don't. But we know where Egwene is.
We do know where Rand is.
Let's say we don't yet.
Let's lie to ourselves.
Yeah, it's all the key players, all the key events. We're going through them bit by bit. We had a great prologue that set the scene with a lot of them. So it's...
And Battle of Moridin, end of this book.
Mm-hmm.
End of this book. It's still a whole book to go.
Yes. Okay, speaking of the plot, did you guys remember to pick your favorite moments from the plot in these 5 chapters? Did. Okay, Willem, that's a vehement yes. Let us know. What was your favorite moment?
It was in your chapter. And surprise, surprise.
Yeah, with all your mates.
The crazy, and I mean, it's not favorite because it's my mates or anything, but it does give away a lot about their insanity. So Halima, who is Arangar, who is
Balthamel,
is he is a woman, and he is hitting as a woman on Grendel and grabbing her by the hair and playing this really crazy game with her, and how she becomes a mood ring. You remember mood rings from back at school days?
Yes.
Yes, that whole scene for me was not delightful, just insightful.
is the word you're looking for.
Yes,
but
creepy.
Entertainingly creepy. Like it's
entertainingly
like
creepy. Yes,
Yeah.
it was interesting because you don't, they're so few and far, or these times when there's so many Forsaken together in one room and to interact with each other. It's one thing them interacting with Dark Friends or their minions. Dark Friends Social come to mind and all of that, but this is just them. And this creepy servant that reminds me of the and Dune, the second part, with the pitch black eyes. Yes.
I started Dune Messiah last week. I haven't got there yet.
I think Willie's talking about the movie. You're
talking
about the movie.
In the movie, like the visual of it. Like Hadronages, humans, black eyes.
Those people that are like tending to Baron Harkonnen.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is this is all the Forsaken that are alive in one room at one time, right?
Yes, I think so.
Yes,
every single one. That's a milestone.
Right,
that's book 11. They're going, holy shit, we should really start working together, guys.
Yeah, there's no others left, hey?
No, they're all dead.
Masana's there. Semirog's there.
Sindane is there.
Sindane's there.
Yeah.
Magidion's there. Moridin's there. Bilal, Agenor, Halimo's there.
Bilal is there in spirit.
Balthamel is there in spirit.
Balthamel.
Yeah, Bilal is dead.
Bilal
he's there in memory.
I should make a rhyme like Bilal is in the Yil. He's
should make a rap.
Yeah, that was a cool chapter, Phil.
Yeah,
I also enjoyed that meeting, and I enjoy Moridin's crazy antics.
I was expecting him to come in like with some crazy rat on his shoulder scenario, like
another animal to set on fire.
Yeah, something. But no, he just comes with these mind-trapped, slaves. Boring.
In their power clashing red and black.
Yeah.
How about you, Joe? Favorite moment?
Favorite moment is from your chapter. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder. Yeah.
It might be.
Oh, no, not from your chapter, from Villy's chapter. Sorry. Villy was from Villy's chapter. Ty Lee. From the second she walks in, she's like, oh my God, you're the Wolf King with a hammer. And the last thing she says is like, who the fuck are you? Like the whole time. He just keeps on doubling down. And she's just like, what the fuck? Who am I talking to?
Yeah. That's my honorable mention, Joe. Was that whole interaction.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
Like just the last throw is just like, oh, and this letter from Suroth. She's like, Suroth herself? Who are you?
And the best part of it is that Perrin himself doesn't care. Like he doesn't care that he's so special and like all these things are like, surrounding him. He's just
want my
single-minded, focused. Yeah, guys, settle down. We just need to go cool these shadows so I can get my wife back. Okay, and then you guys can have Manether and do whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about anything else. Yeah, he's very cool. He's our awesome boy.
He is. My favorite moment is also from the Forsaken chapter, and it is just the line about Sindane's response to Arangar. I will rip out your heart if you touch me again. Not like, Veiled, like, don't do that, or you'll be sorry, or anything. I will rip out your heart. Just straight to the point.
Does that happen? Because I'd love to see this actually happen in the
who
book
does she
later
say
on.
it to? No, she says it to Arangar, and Arangar is killed by Rand.
Bummer.
Gerald sent in a favorite moment. And he goes, I've just finished chapter 5, so my favorite bit for this week is Perrin's encounter with the Seanchan. Typically stoic Perrin, not taking any shit, good display of power and ability of his men. I love the final comment by Ty Lee after reading the note from Suroth. Aes Sedai, Ashaman, Aiel, your eyes, that hammer, now this, who are you?
Yes, Gerald. Good
yes, you
choice.
guys have snapped.
Yeah.
Gerald is very much like absorbed into the podcast now. So to the rest of our listeners, be like Gerald and send in your favorite moments, your thoughts, your theories, observations, corrections, or anything you can dream up. You can do so using the social media links in the episode description down below, or just go to bloodandashespodcast.com where you can leave a voice note that we can play on the show. Please review or rate the podcast on your favorite podcast app, and then set your sights on next time on Blood and Ashes, where we will cover chapters 6 through 9.
Ah, you missed the trick.
Why?
6 through 11 would have been perfect.
Would it?
Yes.
Why?
All Matt, back to back.
Is that how many Matt chapters it is?
All the time.
Yeah. Chapter 6 is a stave and a razor, and we all know now what that means. Then a cold medallion, dragon's eggs, and a short path. That's plenty. We'll have more Matt after that.
I wanted to, before we wrap up the podcast, tell people about our Discord channel. Now, I know it's mentioned every week, but maybe people don't know what Discord is. Maybe not people aren't gamers or whatever. It's just like a fun little place where only if you join can you speak to us. It's not Twitter. It's not. It's like a private little chat room, and it's an app on your phone. It's super simple. And then it's just cool people who dig each other. And
If
like
you were to sell software, you'd struggle. I'm just saying.
Good thing I don't. We got all the chapters. Like if you're listening to this chapter and you want to go talk about it, you can go into the Discord channel, find this book, find this chapter, and then talk. Say these guys were wrong, and then we can mention it in the podcast and
absolutely
all kinds of stuff. It's very cool. You should come and join us.
And the link to that Discord channel is in the episode description, but they do expire after a time. So if it doesn't work, drop me a line via the website, or I don't even remember my own email address at Blood and Ashes, but bloodandashespodcast.com will give you an avenue to get to me, and I will send you a fresh link to join the Discord channel. Good call, Joe.
Gracias.
All right. When everyone has joined Discord and we can start talking about, let's face it, mostly Star Trek on there.
Yeah,
I kid. No, there's just some Star Trek on there. So everyone get some Star Trek in your veins and go read chapters 6 through 9. But until we get to our next episode, I will say to all of you, sleep well and wake.
Live long and prosper.
One. Oh, gosh.
Perfect.